Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. Today we'll be talking about the Queensland digital grants for small business. Thanks for coming. I'll share my screen with you and we'll get started. Okay, so let's get started. Today's agenda will be a brief section on digital marketing, elements of a good digital marketing strategy, and then we'll talk about the Queensland government grants, specifically who can apply, how much they can apply for, what it can be used for, the timeframes that apply, what the process is, and how we can help. So before we start though, I want to talk about your marketing, and you need to understand why you market. So imagine this. Imagine that last week you had X qualified leads. Now I don't know what X is for your business, but you know. For some businesses it could be 150 leads a week. For others it might be one a week. So for the sake of today's discussion, let's say it was 5. So let's say last week you had 5 qualified leads. And this week you also had 5 qualified leads. In fact, imagine every week you had 5 qualified leads coming into your business. Well, what would happen is you'd start to become selective. There'd be no price discounting. There'd be no B-grade clients. You choose only the best projects. You may even charge for quotes. You'd start to choose the jobs and the people that you want to work with. Now let's look at the other side of the coin when you don't have enough qualified leads. 1, you cut your margin. 2, you take on B-grade clients. And 3, you work on the wrong projects. And we see this happen time and time again when builders neglect the marketing side of their business. Okay, and when you do, and you're faced with cutting your margin, B-grade clients, and the wrong projects, it's really hard to make good money from those projects. So let's now have a look at, that's the why you need it, to avoid these problems. Let's now have a look at the elements of a good digital marketing system. So 1 is your website. It's really important. Your website, it's a part of the internet that you own. 2, social media, because that's where your clients will often hang out. And 3, email marketing system, because that's the best system for converting prospects to clients. So each one of these elements serves a different function. Now, some of you no doubt are sitting back saying, well, I use word of mouth marketing. And I just want to say a couple of things about word of mouth marketing. Okay, in fact, 3 things. 1, I think it's great. Word of mouth is by far the most persuasive form of advertising. 2, it's worth probably 2 to 5% of your margins. Margin improvement if it's come from a referral from another positive client. 3, or the second thing is it's like a stereo without a volume control, and that's a downside. Remember back in the 70s, if you grew up and your result was me, we had stereos with a huge volume control that you could turn up to turn up the sound. Well, word of mouth is like that stereo without the volume control. You can't turn it up, you can't get more out of it. The final thing I'll say is that these days, social media is quickly becoming the new word of mouth. There's 16 million Australians on social media on a regular basis. They converse on it every day. They spend more time on social media than they do on the phone talking to friends. It's really where word of mouth is these days. So you need to be on that section on social media for no other reason than it's where your clients hang out. So now turning up the volume on leads, well, that's your volume switch really is your email marketing system, your Google AdWords and remarketing, and your Facebook AdWords or remarketing. Okay, and in place of Facebook, you could use Instagram or other platforms. Okay, 2 final points on digital marketing. 1 is digital marketing is still marketing. It always will be. So you need to understand your market niche. You need to understand the USP or value proposition. You need to have an effective call to action. Okay, because it's still marketing. The final point is it's a process. It's about generating leads. It's about educating your clients. It's about qualifying the best leads. And then it's about closing the sale. So your system needs to be able to deliver on all of those points. Okay, the government grants. So who can apply, how much, what it can be used for, the time frames of process, and how ASET can help. So who can apply? Well, you need to be a Queensland business with less than 20 people. You need to have an ABN, as I said, based in Queensland, and you need to declare if any directors are an undischarged, bankrupt or insolvent. So how much is the grant worth? Well, it's up to $10,000. Now, it is match funding. So you put in $1, government puts in another $1. But it's actually better than that because the government's willing to pay up to 20% of the applicant's in-kind contribution. So what does that mean? Well, it means you get to charge your time you spend implementing the project. Now, how good is that? So let's give you a real-life example. So you have a digital marketing pack, new website, EMS, social media for $5,000. And you allow $1K of your time for design, implementation and training. So that's normally 25 hours, so $40 an hour. Brings a total cost of $6,000. So you apply for a grant for $6,000. The government refunds 50% of that amount, $3,000, and your real out-of-pocket expenses are $2,000. So let me say again, the deal is you get a 5K digital pack for 2K. That sounds like a great bargain to me. So what can the grant be used for? Well, it can be used for, it's quite specific, digital planning and advice, digital marketing and social media, digital content, so web pages, media, that sort of thing. Receiving payments and selling online, which may not apply to too many builders, and specialised software, such as the project portal, industry-specific, cloud-based business platform for builders. So you can see where this is heading. Now, what won't be funded? Franchise fees, business with related companies or family, stock, maintenance of existing systems, general business expense. Okay, the timing. Submissions close midnight, December 9. So it's not a lot of time. It's a couple of weeks at best. Once closed, all the applications will be assessed and they'll either be approved or declined within 2 months. If it's approved, the work must start within 3 months of approval and it must be completed within 4 months of approval. So the government's quite specific. Now, once it's approved, you could start straight away. The important thing is that you don't start before it's approved. Otherwise, the grant won't apply. So what to include in the application? Well, you need a detailed quote of exactly what's being done. You need to outline the digital technology or service. And you need to say how it will enhance the capabilities of business and make the business more competitive. You also need to include details of the impact of the business. So growth, revenue growth, cost savings, time savings, and employee outcomes. Now remember, these are all projections. Be optimistic, but don't be outlandish, is my advice. Finally, you need to declare your headcount. Remember, it needs to be under 20, which for most of you won't be a problem. And you need confirmation and breakdown of your matched financial contributions, and that's it. Now, how will the applications be assessed? Because you will be competing with other people that submit applications. Well, they'll look at the extent to which digital technology or service will enhance your business. So that's really important. They'll look at value for money. So, for example, if you said, oh, I'm spending $20,000 on a website, the application might find itself on the bottom of the pile because they'd consider it poor value for money. Finally, the likelihood that this digital initiative will deliver job growth. Now, in my experience, it's all about the story. And many years ago, I worked for CSR, and one of my jobs during that time was to prepare research grants to get funding for research that we would do. It was R&D tax write-offs for research. Every one of my applications was successful. More recently, I applied for an innovative grant to help fund the development of the Agility Project portal. Again, I was successful. So this is just my experience, but my experience tells me it's about the story. Write a good story, follow the rules, and you've got a good chance of being successful. Now, how can Asset help? Well, we can take the hassle out of the process. We can help you prepare your application. We have a good story to tell, not just about your business, but about Agility, what it is. It's designed and developed in Queensland. It's being worked on by Queensland programmers or app developers. And we employ a number of people, young people, recent university graduates, etc., on the social media side of our business. So that's a good story as well. Finally, we actually deliver. We deliver a good result for clients. Here's what Craig had to say. He was using a competitive system. He changed to our system, and he's really happy he did. So now it's your turn. If you're thinking of getting started, or you want to replace an existing system, then now's the time. So your next step, would be to visit the Asset Builders website / Queensland Government Grants, and there'll be some more resources there. There's a couple of videos on email marketing and social media, and we outline what's involved in each one of those packs: the website, EMS, social media, etc. And finally, call our office to schedule a time where we'll sit down and write with you over a video conference your application and submit it. So that's all it's going to take, is about 20 minutes of your time. In my view, it's a great step forward. So that's the process. If you would like more information, don't hesitate to contact us. I think you stand a good chance of having your application approved, because I've rung the people running the program and asked them, is this a waste of time? Are they going to get swamped with applications? The applications are only open for a couple of weeks. And their advice to me is it's definitely worth your while. So I'm passing that information on to you. Thanks very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. It's our first. Sorry about the technical hitch at the beginning. I think I missed the broadcast button. So I did a whole webinar to myself, but that's part of the learning. Hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to give me some feedback or comments. You know where to find me. Once again, thanks very much for your time, and good luck with your digital marketing.